Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. I am. Michigan just beat Alabama. Life is good, as they say. Hey, let me know how the audio is. It's great to see so many people here waiting for it to start off, but let me know. I still haven't switched over to the new microphone. I actually got the new microphone sitting right over there on the floor. I just ran out of time to set it up. But leave me a comment. Let me know how it looks. We're going to chat 300,000 huge thank you to everybody. You know, I started Court Cars News purely as a hobby because my family, we were in a position where we needed to save money. My wife and I just graduated college. We just had a child. We were newly married with money trouble, student loans, rent, all that funny stuff that you have to do when you become an adult. And I cut the cord because we had to, because paying for DirecTV at the time, I think it was $115 we were paying DirecTV at the time, was just something we couldn't not afford. And got active on social media, started writing Court Cars News as a hobby, and it kind of exploded into this thing. It's hard to believe how many millions of people who've gone to the website. 300,000 people subscribe to us on YouTube now. I'm eternally thankful for your support. Not just for myself, but there's multiple people here that you support by watching these videos, by reading our stories. You know, many families. Becca, huge thank you to her. She's now my longest running employee. She started off with me before I sold the company, and then stayed on through. Huge thank you to Becca. She's the COO, does so much on the back end, does all the writing, or newsletters, social media management, all kinds of business related stuff that is required to keep a site like this running. So huge thank you to Becca. Raymond, who runs our affiliate kind of content. He's a great guy. Works very hard. Up to see if I talk him and James and Becca into getting on a stream someday. But he writes all those how to watch guides, all kinds of stuff. A great person. Also, James, you know, bounces around, helps with news, creates how to watch guides, and so many other things. Amazing person too. People who are no longer here. Tamara. And of course, people when you know, I didn't own it, who were very active and engaged here. But also Jess. Huge thank you to Jess for all the years of hard work. You know, if you've watched us in the past, you know she did the Q&As and stuff when I was gone. Very active both on YouTube and on the site. She's on to bigger and better things right now. I wish her all the best. I talked to her not that long ago. So a huge thank you to her. All the people who aren't here anymore. There's so many. I can't list them all. But a huge thank you to everybody who has made this possible. Huge thank you to you, the viewers, the readers, people who have really chipped in and helped with that over the years. I've really been very thankful for everybody. With that said, hey, 2025 is here almost. In a few short hours here, the Eastern time zone. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about some cord cutting predictions. Let's enjoy a little bit of a party. And as we do that, I'm going to quickly share this on YouTube and social media and all that fun stuff. But really, I'm really grateful. I did not think we would hit 300,000 this year. Did it? It was a goal we set way at the beginning of the year. It was a goal that was reachable, but kind of one of those goals where it's like, okay, the fingertips could barely touch it if everything went well, and it did. So a huge thank you to everybody who subscribed, who followed us. I can't believe we reached 300,000. Thank you. All right, let me quickly put this on social media. Let's get into the comments. Let's talk about some cord cutting predictions for 2025. Let's look back at some stories from 2024 and more. All right, let's there we go. Put that there. All right, put this here. Share this. All right, we're good. NYC, thank you for the $1.99 shout. Really do appreciate it. Happy New Year to you also. One of the OGs here. Thank you for everybody. Love people celebrating. How's everybody celebrating the new year? I have a young son, so he's going to bed and I'm going to hang out with him. But my daughter and my wife are going to go out to some her brothers and play board games and stuff there. My son just he's he's too young for that late stuff. So I'm gonna hang out with little man. Hey, from Finland, welcome. Thank you for your support. Happy 2025 to you with that. All right, watching Squid Games. What do you think? I don't know spoilers. Are you in season 2? Do you like it? Don't you like it? Leave me a comment. Let me know. North Alabama. I hope you're not an Alabama fan. I'm a big Michigan fan. I tell you, I made the mistake of telling my family, we're not going to win this. 11 starters are out. Some of our backup depth is out, but I'm excited for the future. Well, then we never trailed in the football game today. So apparently do not listen to me from anything related to predictions related to sports. I'm just not a good sports predictor with that. Playing some games with family New Year's Eve, always a good way to ring in the new year. Honestly, always a great way to do it. Hey, let's talk about some cord cutting predictions, shall we? Should we dive into that? Let me bring this up. 5 cord cutting predictions for 2025. And this is my list. I would love to hear your list of predictions, but starting off with cord cutting surpassing 75%. What does that mean? 75% of households in the United States will not pay for a traditional TV service like cable TV, satellite, and the rest with it. I predict that we'll see, we're already at about 70% right now with that. I predict 75% will become a reality. Now, depending on what numbers you look at, that could be hard to track. There's a little disagreement sometimes with cord nevers and all kinds of households, how many are with that. But I predict 75% or more Americans will ditch traditional cable TV or satellite TV. This next one's probably a freebie, but free ad-supported television, or so-called FAST, I hate that name. I think that's actually hurts it. I can't tell how many times I'm talking to people who are not tech savvy or really into cord cutting, and I say FAST to them, and they think I'm talking about like a sports streaming service, a racing type service type deal. But I think we'll continue to see the explosive growth. We've seen the percentage of that grow skyrocket, more and more people watching it because people have been cutting back on the amount of paid services they have. From a peak of about 7 paid services in 2020, our most recent survey said most cord cutters pay for 3 or fewer, with about like 52% of you, and the vast majority of you pay for 4 or fewer. And increasingly, as you ditch paid services or rotate them, you're seeing free ad-supported ones replace them in the lineup. So I suspect we'll see that continue. Streaming bundles, I suspect that this will see more, and I suspect we'll see some big services offer new bundled. Would not surprise me to see either Peacock or Paramount Plus bundle with another service or each other. We know that there's been talks between Peacock and Paramount Plus to do a joint bundled deal where you get a service there. Also for maybe a joint deal with Max. We'll see what happens, but I think we're going to see more of that. Not to say we won't see standalones. You'll still be able to get just one or the other, I think. But I think we're going to see more and more bundles come up as services try to do it. The reason being is when they bundle together. Hey, maybe I'm not interested in Disney Plus this month, but there's something on Max. Well, I'm not going to cancel the whole bundle. Instead, I'm going to just go and watch Max. And then when something's back on Disney Plus, I'm going to get Disney Plus. They say it keeps people subscribed much longer, but we'll see what happens there. I think we're going to see a lot more of these. All right. Next to rise of niche streaming services. While major streamer platforms like Netflix and Disney Plus aren't going away, more targeted streaming services are becoming more and more popular. Anime, classic films, independent cinema, documentaries, and more aren't going away. I think especially in the free ad-supported realm. I would not be surprised to see a free ad-supported service dedicated to nothing but anime, for example, come out, or one with classic films, more niche dedicated. Will they be successful? That's a different question. I think people are going to try them more. I'm just not sure they'll be successful. With that, though, more small streaming services will shut down in 2025. I don't know which. I have a few I think are likely to shut down. I think there's a few big ones that, while maybe not in 2025, I do think in the near future could face the reality of just the fact that they're not profitable. It's just at some point that money's going to run up. The amount of money coming from investors into streaming has severely dried up. Not gone away, just dried up a lot in 2024. I think that'll continue in 2025. Investors are at a point where they're saying, hey, I really need to see some type of return here. I'm not going to continue throwing money into streaming just because I think it's what's next. I now need to see actually the next step. So I think those are my 5. What predictions do you have? Do you think that there's going to be something out there in 2025 in the world of cord cutting you think is going to happen? A lot's happened in the last 24 hours, though. Let's start off with DirecTV. Now, I did a video on this if you want to get a lot more in depth, but DirecTV has kind of gone a little crazy. So, all right. They have eliminated a bunch of packages to try to force people to subscribe to bigger ones. Now, they're not technically gone. They're just not being promoted. They're not advertised. They're not on the website. If you know them, I guess you can call their website and ask for those packages. Now, this is let me zoom in here. This is the TV package lineup effective a few months ago. And you can see you got Family, Select, Entertainment, Choice, Preferred, Extra, Extra, Ultimate, and Premier. Now you go to their website and you only see, I'm in the wrong one. You only see 4 packages. You notice what's happening here is they've eliminated 2 of the cheaper packages in the very bottom and 2 of the middle range packages. Because now, if you wanted the channels in the extra, you're going to have to get the ultimate. Or if you wanted the family or select, you're going to have to go to the entertainment, which is more money. By the way, anyone know what the $15 ARS fee is? What's the ARS fee? Let me see here. Advanced receiver service fee. I guess that's, you don't get a free receiver anymore. But look at all these fees. HD DVR, all free digital TV, wires upgrade with HDD for each additional fee schedule. Let's have some fun here. I didn't even mean to click this. All right. Regional sports fee with DirecTV is up to $17.99. TV access fee or lease fee applies to each piece of leased equipment, $7 a month. So let's think about, you have 3 TVs, $7 times 3. Advanced receiver fee up to $25 fee with that. Minimum service fee. The fee if your account moves to minimum service status due to non-payment. Okay, that's an interesting way to say late fee, I guess. Early termination fee up to $480, prorated for $20 per month for remaining months. Equipment now return fees. Okay, that's pretty standard. If you don't return the equipment you borrowed, they're going to charge you for it. Activation fee of $19.95. So just turn on your service, call you that. Service call, $100 if you have to call them because something's wrong. Duplicate statement fee. I guess if you ask for a second written statement, $1.75, not unreasonable. There's a cost to DirecTV if you say, hey, I need another copy for something. Dispatch fee, $99. Okay. Late payment fee. I guess minimum service fee and late payment fee are different. Ledger request fee. Again, if you're asking them to do some work on your behalf, I get that. Phone payment fee. Okay, folks, if you want to pay your bill by phone, DirecTV wants you to pay $5 every time you do it. $5 every time you pay. Okay. Equipment upgrade fee. If you upgrade your equipment. So if you have a piece of equipment and maybe it's not working, you want to get a new one, up to $399 to get the new box. I wonder what that applies. What if you just say, hey, this isn't working well? Are they going to charge you that? What's the line on that? How does that work? Restoral fee. If your fee because if your service becomes if you shut down your service because of non-payment and you want to bring it back to current, they want another $20 for you. Return payment fee. Okay, I get that. If you send a check, it becomes bad. There's a fee on them. I understand that. State and local fees. Always interesting. DirecTV by internet. Here's the interesting. The only fees that do not apply to the DirecTV by internet, which is basically DirecTV satellite packages, but streaming. This is different than DirecTV stream. So the restore service fee is gone. Return payment fee is gone. Apparently, no, you don't pay that. Equipment fee, if you upgrade, you don't pay for that. Late payment fee, apparently they don't charge you that. Interestingly, activation fee, there is no activation fee, so I'll give them that. Don't mind my son out there. He's having apparently a little bit of an upset time. But even if you get the streaming version of their satellite package, you will still pay an RSN, TV access fee, advanced receiver fee, and minimum service fee, all kinds of other fees. Look at all these fees, even on the streaming side. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's what we always hear, right? When you hear oh, this is the advertised price, it's really not. Okay, Comcast fee sheet for TV. All right. Gemini broadcast TV fee. All right. Learn more about your bills, taxes, and fees. All right. Let's take a look at Comcast fees. Okay. Broadcast TV fee here varies where I want. I've seen it as high as $25 and 25 cents. I'm sure it may be even higher. There's a California Public Purpose Fund. I guess if you're in California, I guess that's just to deal with all the programs and stuff they have. So including ones for deaf and disabled. That's pretty nice. Broward Communications, the FCC fee. Now, this is an interesting one. Currently, streaming services do not pay the FCC, but local television stations are trying to get streaming services like YouTube TV, Hulu Plus Live TV, Fubo reclassified like their cable TV companies. If that does happen, they would have to start paying a fee to the FCC for each subscriber they have. They'll probably do it. Universal service fee. This is another government franchise fee. This is a fee that Xfinity pays local government. So you have federal government fees, FCC fees, and now local government fees. Now we're getting to more standard ones. Late fee. Okay, I get it. If you're late on a bill, there's probably a fee. There's a fee on their end. I understand them charging that. Other service providers, third-party companies billed through your monthly bill. Okay, so if you subscribe to something through Comcast, that's reasonable. These are some of the fees that really annoy me. Regional sports fee. Okay, you're advertising a channel included in my package, right? Broadcast TV fee, I'll explain that when we get to it. But RSN fees, regional sports fees. I hate that. I know Comcast has started to include those in some of the advertised pricing. And I might just get rid of it and just make it part of the fee. Why have an RSN fee? It should just be part of the bundle. If you include a channel in a bundle, it's not like I can say I don't want that channel. I'm stuck paying it. It should be included in the fee. In the price, there should not be a second fee for that channel. Regulatory recovery. So this is a fee that because federal, state, and local costs, again, should just be included in the cost of the bundle. Rental fee. If you rent your TV box, gateway, or use any of their thing, there's a fee. State universal ones. Now, this depends on your state. There's a fee. Where's the broadcast TV fee? Okay. Oh, right here. Broadcast TV fee. This is another one right here. I skipped over somehow. This really annoys me. You advertise ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS. It's a big part of the reason why people pay for cable TV to get their locals. And then you're going to charge an additional fee on top of it. And I know recently Comcast has backtracked on this and started to include that in the advertised price. Should have always been that way. It should just be included in the base price, which is what it is. Taxes and government fees. Okay, there's a 911 fee if you have phone service. 988. Oh, suicide prevention. Hey, folks, that's a serious thing. Care for your friends and family. People love you. Athletic fee is charge of certain types of video content, pay-per-view. Okay, I guess it's a pay-per-view sporting event. Federal access tax, okay. Local utility user tax, public and educational and government fees, state and local community service fees, gross receipts tax, state and local sales tax. Okay, we all pay that. You even pay that in streaming. Sales, state access tax. Let's be a little honest here. We're going to continue on this. A lot of this is not stuff that Comcast wants to charge you. It's stuff that states have put on it. Now, I read somewhere that states have saw a significant drop in income because they make so much money off of the fees and taxes that are on your cable bill. State and local governments got really fat on taxing local ones. We've seen several states try to tax streaming services to different levels of success to replace lost income to them from cable, people cutting the cord on cable. City amusement tax. Chicago, Illinois municipal code requires Xfinity to collect amusement tax. This is a 4% tax. So here we go. City of Chicago for entertainment. They want you to pay. Colorado retail delivery fee. Colorado wants you to pay if you live in California or in Colorado. I'm sorry. Communication sales tax, community TV, Knoxville access fee, Connect Me Fund, Massachusetts licensing fee, Maine Telecom Educational Access Fund, Metropolitan Commuter. Look at, I mean, we're going to go forever. Look at all these taxes, folks. This is absolutely crazy how many taxes there are. Does it surprise you at all that there's all these taxes? It doesn't me. It just, that's why they always struggle. We'll see what happens with it in the long run, but look for them to try to tax streaming. We see it in automotive too, right? It's people move from gas to electric. There's talk about a mileage tax now to offset the fact that they're losing money from the gas taxes. A surprising chunk of each gas price per gallon goes straight to taxes. All right. I have a question here. Do you think that we'll ever get channels, antenna TV, and decades on Friendly? Could you? Sure. Don't forget, the more channels you add, the more they have to pay, the more likely the price will continue to roll up. Always be careful. Everybody wants all these channels on their service, but the more channels you add, the more cost goes up. Just keep that in mind. You're going to always have that deal where you're going to see more and more cost inside your stuff. The free programs like Roku and Pluto TV are nice, but it's all junk programming, just my opinion. Hey, if you don't like it, I tell you, there's a lot of really good content. For example, Pluto TV has all the Bond movies right now on there. I mean, I don't consider the Bond movies junk. There's a lot of really good content on there. Let's go have some fun right now. Pluto.tv. I'm going to first put this into the on-demand. I don't need copyright claims here. They're so aggressive nowadays. All right. Remind me later, what is available on demand right now on Pluto TV? Okay. All right. How do I get rid of this? I guess I can't. We'll leave that little bubble right there to try to cover that up and see what happens here. Look at this. NCIS is on here. The John Wick movies, Shawshank Redemption, Scrooge, by the way, classic, pretty good. Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, Ocean's 8, Ocean's 11, Gunsmoke, Andy Griffin, Mama's Family, The Closer, Matlock. I tell you, Cops, Blue Bloods, the quality of content, Bond. Here we go. These are what I was talking about earlier. Look at all these Bond movies in here. I really have been very pleased recently with the jump in here's a good one to cover up that thing there. Happy New Year's. Do you think in 2025 Netflix will be more aggressive with live events, maybe having a daily daytime, nighttime show? Do you think they will ever enter the news? I don't know if Netflix will enter the news business. The news business is very hard, very tight margins. There's a lot of competition right now. And hey, David, thank you so much for that great donation. I really do appreciate it. It's a huge help. Do I think that Netflix is going to do more and more content? Yes. A lot of people were watching the NFL game to see if Netflix could actually hold on because that Tyson fight, was it Tyson? Whatever. The Logan Paul Tyson, was that it? Fight? That wasn't good. But the NFL Sunday games went very well, and I think a lot of people are very excited to partner with them. Netflix sees it as a way to grow its market share, and because of that, they really do want to be able to get out there and have a very active supporting environment with it. That didn't really make sense, but I knew what I wanted to say. In short, I think Netflix, yes, will get into more because they think that that's going to grow the number of subscribers they have. Some of the low budget, best cut cult classic films. Not the comedy to do Army Dark. Yeah, there's a lot of good content here. Yeah, Pluto TV and others not that long ago were mostly junk. I won't lie. Not that long ago was really bad. But look at this. A bunch of the Indiana Jones. Catch Me If You Can. Didn't the guy behind the book come out and say something that, it was embellished or something? I don't know. It's a great story. Is that what happened? I can't remember what, but Mission Impossible 1, 2, 3, and 4. The new one comes out. Obviously, they want you to watch these and come and subscribe to others. The Goodfella, The Godfather, The Firm. There's another good movie. World War Z. I like the book. I haven't seen the movie. I've heard such mixed results on it. Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Blazing Saddles, Weekend at Bernie's. All right. Honestly, this is a better lineup than I think some paid streaming services have. To be very, very honest with you, look at all this stuff. We're not even deep into it, and there's a lot of good stuff here. All right, let me jump back here. Let's go over to the Roku channel real quick. I really wish these American news corporations prioritize reporting the weather and public health. Don't need stories about politicians passing gas in DC. Honestly, you know why they do that? People don't watch news about weather and public health. They just don't. Two things. Weather Channel, it seems rains plummet. Some of the competition's not helping anything. Outside major weather events, increasingly people just grab their cell phone. They check their weather app. They watch the little 2-minute clip their local news station puts on, and they're gone. Like it or not, a lot of that has to do with the fact that people are just not watching the content. All right, let's go into Roku Originals here. All right, the Roku channel real quick here. Roku Originals, it's kind of amazing how many originals they have here. Quite a bit of holiday movies with this Weird Al's movie. Yes, did they create it? No. Are these exclusive to you, the Roku channel? Yeah. They even have some sporting events live here. Let's go back to the home screen here. Look at Die Hard in here, The Nanny, It's a Wonderful Life, the 1946 classic, Survivors on here, Broke Girls. Interestingly, Pluto TV is now licensing its channels out to competitors, which is kind of interesting. I really enjoy kind of seeing how Pluto TV is trying to diversify. And a lot of that is done because what they're hoping here, for example, they have Dexter. Right now, you need a subscription with that. That one's a subscription. But what they're hoping with some of these ones is they will put limited amounts of their new shows and then be like, hey, subscribe to Paramount Plus to watch the rest. Christmas is winding up, but look at this. Miracle on 34th Street. Ion is on here. Little House on the Prairie. 24/7 dedicated channel. Dateline 24/7 and more. All kinds of stuff. Really, Ernest Saves Christmas. I should watch this with my daughter. We watched the Santa Claus. I should watch Ernest Saves Christmas. That would have been a good movie for her. I'm shocked. I understand that this, not everything's for everybody. Some people don't like commercials. I don't like commercials. America's Dumbest Criminals is apparently on here. And hysterically, it's a documentary category. I think that is really weirdly, really weird. But there's a lot of good content here. I'm very impressed with how these have grown. Is it for everybody? No. Do people hate commercials and they're willing to pay for it? Yeah, that's great. But there's an amazing amount of good content on there. All right, let's take a look here. We kind of covered this earlier. We were talking about DirecTV and its packages. Let's talk about some other cable companies that just announced price hikes or maybe losing channels. So DirecTV Well, they're now raising fees. They did that a few months ago. They are making it more difficult to get the cheaper packages, trying to push you to more expensive ones. We have Cox, though. Cox Communications is raising its price. They confirmed this to Core Cars News. I talked to their PR, and they did confirm that, yes, they are raising their price with it. Now, they declined to give me details, all the fees are changing, all that. But talking to multiple readers, it sounds like the average price hike per month will be $15 a month. And with this, you're going to continue to see your bill go up. $15 a month over a year is $180. I often hear people, wow, YouTube TV went up $10. I'm going back to cable. Well, the truth is, if you look at the rising cost of cable television, you're actually still saving more money with YouTube TV in 2025 than what you did in 2024, because YouTube TV goes up $10. The cost of cable went up by $15. Very interesting. We also see more blackouts coming. Optimum Cable has informed or sent us a statement, but this comes as MSN Networks, which is a regional sports networks with the New York Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and Buffalo Sabres. It has until tonight. I have not seen an update, but I need to check my email. I was busy watching the Michigan football game. They are having until tonight at midnight to strike a deal, or there could be a blackout. So we'll see how that plays out. What about Sling TV? Dirk, I hope I said that right. Sling TV also raised the price, but I will give this to Sling TV. This is the first price hike they've done in quite a few years, so I'm gonna give them a little understanding. Let's be honest, there is factors here. These companies don't want to raise the price, right? I'll be honest. The truth is, Comcast would rather not raise the price in the big picture. What they are facing is the reality that everything they do costs more money. Employees' wages are going up. That's one. Fees for content's going up. And let me be very clear here. No one of these things are the sole reason why pricing is going up. It's one of those situations where all these factors together, fees, taxes are going up on a lot of these companies. That what they have to pay to get rights for the networks is going up. YouTube TV and others are in a tough spot. They need those networks in order to be successful, but they also need to offer them at a price point which people are willing to pay for. These cable networks know that, so they're trying to get the maximum amount of money. They're like, Fubo just pulled a bunch of channels saying the owner wanted them to do a 25% pay raise for their networks. And Fubo said that's not feasible. And because of that, we're seeing them lose more channels. Warner Bros. Discovery channels are gone. Fubo's in a tight spot, still not profitable, but needs the channels in order to stay profitable or become profitable. Without the channels, they can't. But they're currently not profitable. They can't afford to be paying these 25% pay raises on everything without having to pass the cost along to you, which means another price hike to you. And they already raised the price once. It's a tough balancing game. Do you give up? I'll explain the wrench in a second. Do you give up your content in order to keep your price down and risk losing people? Or do you keep the content and raise your price and risk losing people? Now, this is totally a dad thing. Over Christmas, I was putting together some of my kids' presents in my office here. And this has been sitting in my office ever since. And I don't know why I keep playing with it. But every dad out there knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's kind of one of those things. Either I lose the content and I risk losing people, or I raise my price and I risk losing people. It's a no-win situation there sometimes for cable companies, because people are going to be mad at you no matter what happens. It's sad to say today marks the death 10 years ago of one of my favorite cable networks ever. Not the reboot. Wasn't such a fan of that. I'll explain that in a minute. But G4. Of course, G4 Tech TV, G4, a pioneer in television, launched in 2002. I think I found it in 2003, 2004, and really watched it for a long time. Eventually moved, and I had a decision to make. I wanted the Big Ten network, so I wanted DirecTV, but that meant that DirecTV had just dropped G4, and I couldn't get it. So I missed the last 2 years of G4. But by then it wasn't the network I remember. But man, G4 was something awesome at the time. I loved OG G4. I actually liked some of the reboot. I have three things with the reboot. Number one, too big, too soon. If you look at like the original G4 and others, started very small, few programs, grew and grew. Felt like the G4 reboot was like, we're just going to spend tons of money and dive in. I also think that they had too many hosts, and I'll explain this way. You look at the original G4, most shows had 1, 2, or maybe 3 hosts on average. That allowed you to build a very close relationship. The reboot had a bunch of hosts rotating, which made it very hard to have a chemistry between the hosts because they weren't 24/7. They weren't always with the same person. And chemistry is one of those things you develop and grow over time. Also, it's all those hosts mean a lot of money. It was more like panel shows. And lastly, I think they made a major mistake in the reboot. These are all my opinions, just personal opinions. They should have targeted me. People that grew up watching the original G4, loved it, and try to keep that. Instead, it felt like they were trying to target a younger audience. They saw what was happening on Twitch, and they're like, well, we can replicate that back on cable and bring in all those young kids to cable and our streaming platforms. And the truth is, no. I've said this before. Just copying somebody. You see tons of copies of different businesses out there, not nearly successful as the original. Because, hey, if I love a restaurant that serves really good chicken, and then a copycat chicken restaurant opens down the road, why am I going to leave a restaurant I already know and I love to go to a copycat restaurant down the road? I'm just going to keep going where I love. And I think that's what they ran into. They were like, well, I know they were on Twitch. I know they were on YouTube and stuff, but they were trying to reinvent the wheel of what certain customers were or what was already happening. And because of that, because they were trying to reinvent the wheel, no one was happy, to be honest. Everybody was unhappy, and that resulted in it not bringing back the old viewers because it wasn't the type of programming they were looking for. It wasn't, a redo of what was in the past. And the attempt to copy what other streamers were doing on YouTube and Twitch, again, made it so they just didn't care. They didn't follow it. So it is kind of what it is. Unfortunately, they are not interested. They weren't interested in the old viewers, it felt like. And I think that's one of the big reasons it failed. But G4 TV 10 years ago tonight shut down. It was a pretty interesting one. Now, interestingly, I've been told by people who worked there, the original towards the end, that G4 was actually profitable. The numbers were going in the right direction, and they were kind of like what it was happening, but it was very slow. A lot of the people who started as young viewers were starting to mature and still watch it and grow, but they were facing new competition. They were slow to respond to YouTube and Twitch. And then but they were still, or not, I don't think Twitch was still around, but YouTube and then later Twitch, but they were kind of slow to it. But overall, it just kind of ended up lacking support from the Comcast executives to keep it going and to invest in it. And they kept moving things around and changing the goalposts and trying to cut costs with it. And I think that's a big part of why it failed, is just the senior executives looked at it and said, well, that's great, but why don't I actually try to focus over here instead? All right, let's keep moving along here. Let's jump in here. I see a lot of people saying they're missing Lowcast as one of the services they missed. Yeah, that'll be great. It'd be awesome. Unfortunately, that one did not win in court and was very sadly shut down because it was an excellent thing for a lot of people to get locals. It would be cool to do it. Unfortunately, that would upset the big partners because they want people to pay. If you want locals, also pay. They also want them to pay. If you want locals, excuse me. I was reading a message on my phone. They also want you to pay for things like ESPN, FX, Disney Channel, and the like if you want to get ABC. All right. Let's see here. Let's jump in here. I see a lot of people have come in. Huge thank you to everybody. I did this at the start. Let me do this again. Huge thank you to everybody for 300,000 subscribers. I still can't believe this. I started this channel, this news site, purely as a way just to tell people about my experience. We cut the cord over 10 years ago now. My wife and I were new college students or new college graduates with student loans. We just had a child. We were still in the first few years of our marriage. Money was tight, and we were paying $115 of DirecTV a month. And it was like, we can't afford this. So we canceled it. I asked my mom for a Roku 2 for Christmas. Anybody remember the Roku 2 HD only? Not even a Roku 3. I bought a used Roku HD, which was even older than the Roku 2 on eBay for, I forget what it was. I ended up probably should have just bought a new one because I only saved like 10, 15 bucks. But I still have that Roku HD, by the way. And then I started getting active on social media in groups about cord cutting, launched Cord Cutters News to just tell people about cord cutting, and it grew. And now, I mean, your support not only supports me and my family now, but you also support many other people. Becca, which you don't really see her on the website. She's our COO. She joined the team over 5 years ago, kind of an office manager, all kinds of stuff. Grew from there into now the COO, kind of second command here. She takes care of all the business stuff. She also does all the newsletters, a lot of the social media. She also does a lot of the scheduled posting. So often, I'll write a story, Raymond or James will write a story, and then Becca will actually post it later at a set time, especially with embargo. So a huge thank you to Becca. She does so many little things in the background that keep a business running. You don't even know. I have to try to see if her and the whole team will get on one of these live streams once, but huge thank you to Becca. Raymond does all kinds of posts, from news to how to watch to keeping those guides up to date. Him and James do a ton of that. It's a lot. We have a lot of guides here on trying to answer common questions. So huge thank you to Raymond. Just a really good guy, really hardworking. I've been very excited to work with Raymond with that. And James, another writer here, full-time, all full-time people. James does everything. He writes news. He covers how-tos, all those like what's new on Netflix posts and the like. He does every week. James does so much also in the background, and also just goes back and helps edit and update things and keep things running and keep things going smoothly. I'm very, very pleased with the whole team. A lot of people, people who worked here when I did not even own the site, between the time when I sold it and bought it back, which is a whole nother story. And then there's others. Of course, Tamara joined shortly before I sold and did a lot. Jess. I still miss Jess. Jess is amazingly talented. I still talk to Jess from time to time, but I know Jess is on to bigger and better things, and I wish her absolutely the best. I talked to her actually not that long ago. So Jess, if you see this, huge thank you for all your work you've done with Cord Cutters News. Actually, when I bought back the site, Jess was the person that transferred everything over to me and worked with me to make sure all the accounts got back into my name. And she did a lot of with the new owners to help transfer it back to me. And that would have been huge. I really do appreciate it. So Jess and everybody else who's either worked here in the past, still works here now, huge thank you. Thank you to everybody here for watching. I really do love that we don't have to put a paywall up. Your support, watching our website with ads, or reading the stories with ads, watching videos, watching the ads, that supports not just my family, but all these people get support from that. We're incredibly thankful. I never thought we would hit 300,000 when I started this. I remember being very excited when we hit like 10,000, thinking that was unbelievable. So a huge thank you to everybody for that. Without you, none of this matters. I could talk to a camera of nobody. I'm very thankful you're all here to support us and help us. So a huge thank you for that. All right, Canadian Maker Project. Enjoy what you do. Any chance you may cover more in the north, more Canadian friendly. We tried to do a little bit. I'll be honest. There's just so much in the world of cord cutting to cover everything, but we have covered. Keep watching. We cover some when it happens. I'm very interested to see what happens with Bell and a few others in 2025. Frank, thank you so much for being a subscriber. That $5 a month really does help. We really do thank you for it. But when does the Cord Cutters News IPO become a reality? Honestly, probably never. I don't, there's no reason for it for us. And when you do that, you give up a lot of control. So I'm just not interested in becoming a publicly traded company, to be honest with you. At least for now, I still don't see a benefit. No cap. Thank you. Another name. So many people here that were here all the time before I sold and are still here all the time after. Huge, huge thank you to everybody for that. I really do appreciate it. What brought me back? I miss Scorecards News, I'll be honest. I don't regret selling. It gave all my employees health insurance and benefits that I wasn't able to offer them at the time. That's the nice thing about being part of a big project or big companies. You do get, all these type of benefits with that. When the opportunity came to buy it back, I was shocked. It was a good deal, a shockingly good deal. I was very blessed to get my hands on it, build it, and grow it back. I can't believe it. How many people come and read the site, and millions and millions of people. And then there's the YouTube channel. We're averaging over 1 million views a month now. The website's exponentially larger, but we do really well on YouTube too. And I'll be honest, YouTube is going to be a big focus going forward. It's going to really see us grow, and we're going to really develop and lean into YouTube more and more. I can't say we're going to do live streams as often as I've been doing them recently. But we will continue to do live streams and offer new content here and try to hang out with you from time to time. Let me know, what do you guys all think about the new videos? We're doing a lot more evergreen content, product reviews, how-tos, tips, plus more breaking news. I don't know if you've noticed, I did another breaking news today about the new DirecTV. Let me know, what do you think of those videos? What do you like? What don't you like? I always love to hear feedback from people. We really do appreciate, as always, when people chip in and support us. But, donations are great. Watching the videos are great too. Hitting that subscribe button, hitting that thumbs up is a huge help to us, because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. I really, it's really that simple. But yeah. All right. Let's kind of shift gears here real quick. Let me close up this tab. Let's take a look more about cable networks in 2025 or 4 as we get ready for 2025. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on which ones do you think are most likely to survive or be shut down in the future. Obviously, kids networks are some of the most vulnerable networks going forward. I have a 12-year-old daughter. Let me tell you, even though I have tons of live TV services, Fubo, Hulu, YouTube TV, Sling TV, do you think my daughter ever opens any of those apps? No, she doesn't. She's in YouTube, Crunchyroll, Disney Plus or something like that. She's never on any of these cable networks. Probably why you're seeing things like Teen Nick down 53%. Not a big surprise there. But Nickelodeon down 31%. All these kid networks down. But it's not just kids networks. We talked about this a little bit before last time, but Spanish programs are down, or Spanish language channels are down heavy. Some of the most impacted. And I've talked to a few people. There's no scientific, reason behind this, but a few people have told me that is heavily because of the growth of Spanish content in the United States, getting direct access through legal streaming services to this content and not need to pay a cable provider just to get a small number of Spanish channels when these Spanish language. Oh, hey, I just, for some reason, briefly had a little spinny wheel on my screen, so it looks like I'm back. But MTV2, I've said this, I listed them in my video of channels most likely to shut down in 2025. I think the only reason channels like MTV2, MTV Classic, those smaller sub-channels, BET, smaller ones, I think the only reason they're still around is because Paramount is merging with Skydance, and they don't want to rock the boat there at all. They don't want to risk upscaling Skydance and having Skydance pull their support for the deal because they shut down content that was part of the deal. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. E-Network, I don't know. E-Network is being spun off into an independent company. What's the future of E? Bravo is staying with NBC Universal. They seem to think that's a good one. I said before, I was shocked to see CNBC lose 25% of its viewership. I know it's got competition from Bloomberg. I know it's got competition from other places like Cheddar. There's the network I was trying to think the name of. But CNBC has been a staple of the business culture. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the future now that they're being spun off into an independent company. Golf Channel down 21%. Oh, I apologize. Golf Channel down big. Headline News, which isn't even the Headline News network anymore. Discovery Life Channel, break even. ABC down 1%. MeTV down 2%. I wonder a little bit with MeTV how much of that is moving from people leaving MeTV and going over to MeTV Tunes. With that, HBO down 7%. Not a surprise with people being moved into Max. Tennis Channel down 7%. A lot of these. Great American Family. Now, interestingly, Hallmark Family down 10%. Great American Family down only 8%. Hallmark Channel down 13%. These are long seen as cord-cutting proof networks because they were seen as, hey, these are the older people out there. These are the people less likely to cut the cord. I've seen quite a few people do it. The Magnolia Network down 14%. These are not viewers that are often considered young, though they do have them. I have family members who turn on, around Christmas, they get up, they get their morning coffee, they turn on the Hallmark Channel, the Game Show Network. And to see them lose a bunch of viewers. Game Show Network. Oh, it's the Game Show Network not on this list? Interesting. To see them lose subscribers is a huge red flag because we're launching as evergreen content. These were the channels that were least likely to shut down in the future because all these old people were watching them is what cable executives told me. This isn't me. This is literally what cable executives have told me. Now it doesn't seem to be helping them at all. Now, one thing real quick, has anybody noticed, remember when you used to go to a doctor's office or something and they would have the news on? Is it me or does it seem like every doctor's office anywhere now has HGTV on? Am I the only one that thinks that whenever I go see a doctor, I take Synthroid, so I have to get my yearly blood work. Whenever going for my blood work, HGTVs all over the place. I take my kids to the doctor, HGTVs. Am I the only one that thinks it's HGTV's viewership seems to be 90% waiting rooms nowadays? Leave me a comment. Let me know with that. TNT is going down a lot more when basketball season leaves. TNT is turning into a sports network. Warner Bros. Discovery sees the future of its cable networks as news and sports. That's why True TV got rebranded into a sports network. I wouldn't be surprised if True TV get a new name in the future, to be honest with you. But Warner Bros. Discovery has made it very clear that they are moving away from their cable networks as outside of focusing on maybe some children's programs still, but sports and news. And that's why TNT struck a deal to air the first 2 games of the first round of the college football playoffs, to have a bunch of other football deals. Mountain West College Sports is coming over there and others. Look for more and more sports to come on True TV, TNT, TBS, and others as they see that as the future of their networks. And I don't think they're wrong. I think that is true. If you're not a sports fan or news fan, why are you paying for cable TV or even paying for things like Fubo or YouTube TV and the like? If you just want HGTV, go get Max. Watch tons of their programming on demand whenever you want it over there. I agree. Cable TV is too expensive for the average American. You know, we talk a lot about inflation and different things, but let's be honest, we pay for a lot more stuff. My car is in the shop getting transmission, which is yay, but I had 2,000 miles left on the warranty in my car. So it was kind of cool that squeaked that in under the wire. But I'm renting a GMC. It was actually funny. I went there for a car and they said, "Hey, it's the holidays and we don't have many cars left on the lot right now because everybody's flying in for Christmas and New Year's to see family, but we have quite a few pickup trucks and it's actually cheaper. Can we give you a full-size pickup truck?" I was like, "Sure." By the way, I've suddenly people have been already asking me to borrow the pickup. They're like, "Hey, can you come over?" My dad was like, "Hey, I got some junk in the basement I want to take to the dump. Can you come pick me up and bring all this junk to the stuff to the dump?" I sure did. But in it, when I hit the little voice button with my phone, it says I need a data plan in order to use the voice feature in my car for this GM. GM is now, subscription servicing everything. The other thing, we, pay for a lot more stuff. When I was a kid, my parents did not have a cell phone. They had a house phone. If you were not there, tough luck. You didn't get the phone call. They did not have a bunch of streaming services. They did not have home internet. They paid. When I grew up, we had an antenna. And when I was in late elementary school, we got cable TV. We pay for a lot more subscriptions now than we used to. All these things, plus we eat out more than the average person. This resulted in us having less disposable income because think about when I was a kid, my parents paid for a house payment, trash, water, sewer, electrical, right? There was no internet. There was no cable TV. There was no cell phone service. There was no subscription game service, TV services, none of that. They weren't paying a subscription to their car to use a feature in their car. All that has come down to the fact that Americans are now becoming much more money conscious of what they're paying for. Now, this is not a sponsor. I don't get anything. They're not paying for anything, but highly recommend that you go consider getting a thing like Rocket Money's app and have it scan your bank accounts for subscription payments you're paying. I bet you're paying for stuff you don't. Music, here's another one. How many of you have a music subscription service? We had blank tapes and a radio. I don't want to sound like an old guy that's screaming at the sun, but the reality is that we pay a lot more now than we did because we have a lot more services than our parents did on average. And because of that, and there's a lot of other things, I'm not trying to have a big all-encompassing discussion on this, but the result in that has been in recent years, Americans are pulling back. How many things are you paying for? Do you really need that music subscription? And 5 TV streaming services? And apparently with GM, if you want to use the push to talk feature in your car, a data plan on top of that, or, let's be honest, home internet, kind of a necessity now, but people don't use that anymore. They don't go and they don't, you can't, let me rephrase that. People need it. They pay for it. But when we were kids, they didn't pay for any of that. So you think about all these things my parents never paid for when I was a kid. Streaming services, home internet, subscription plans for your car, music streaming services, cell phones, and more. There's some things I pay for Walmart Plus. I actually think it saves me money because it prevents me from A, spending the time to go in the store, B, when I'm in the store being tempted to buy stuff I shouldn't be buying. But with that, it means that I'm much more susceptible to paying out there for things that my parents never did. Well, I think about that. That's a few $100 a month right there. I'm probably paying in additional fees that my parents never paid for. It's very interesting. So, with that, I think that's why we've seen subscription services for core kind of services go from 10 or 7, but some people have been paid 10, all the way down to 3. I predict that will continue to go down. It would not surprise me someday in the future that 2 or fewer becomes the norm with the growth of things like, hey, I get the Disney Plus bundle for my wireless provider. Verizon, I'm still on one of their grandfather plans. I still get this. I get the Disney Plus bundle. My son's addiction to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse with his milk before bed is fixed with that. But I think that's more and more common with that. But yeah, let me question: how many services do you pay for? If you don't know, I highly recommend you get something like Rocket Money. Download it, have it scan it, and go cancel some of that stuff you don't need. Here's another one. I am a huge audiobook person. Now, I get access to audiobooks. I would never, when I was a kid, I would get just a couple audiobooks a year and I would listen to them because I know now I have an Audible subscription, right? Awesome. I'm getting all these audiobooks. I get 2 books a month. I just finished, by the way, I'm actually giving this to people. Really good series. I just finished this. The Great Courses. The Art of Decision Making. The Great Course series on Audible, really good. Some really good stuff there. I like this so much. I'm giving this to some people I work with that they need to read that. But check it out. Link it. Audible. Love it. I also love sci-fi books on there, historical biographies, all kinds of stuff. But hey, it's another subscription service. But yeah, go into something like Rocket Money, have it scan your account. I bet you there's some in there you didn't even realize you're paying for with it. All right. I want to hear from you. What cable networks do you think are most likely to shut down in the future? Here, I see some people like, how come this streaming service isn't on Roku or on Fire TV or Apple TV and stuff? Okay. Be cautious of streaming services that promise you hundreds of cable TV channels at a really great price. Some of them even promise things like NFL Sunday Network at a really great price, but they're not on things like Roku and other places. When, like my grandma always says, if it sounds too good to be true, it could be. Maybe it is legitimate, maybe it's not, but have some doubt. Be very careful of services with crazy promising names on it. Just be very careful out there when you're subscribing to stuff out there. All right, Pluto TV and will Pluto TV and Paramount Plus merge? No, I don't. Actually, there's been talk of Paramount selling off Pluto TV, maybe back to one of the original founders, Ryan. I forget his name. Really nice guy. I've met him several times, Ryan. But Pluto TV, for one, has a totally different model than Paramount Plus. There's no reason to merge them. For one, you can always get Pluto TV without Paramount Plus. But Pluto TV's main purpose is to convince people to subscribe to Paramount Plus. That's why they put things like a new show is coming out, right? Let's say a new Star Trek show. Season 2 is coming out. Well, they're going to put entire season 1 on Pluto TV with the hope that you'll watch it, fall in love with it, and then subscribe to Paramount Plus to get season 2. Now, the other thing that happens a lot here is that they'll go in and also put the first episode of a new show on there. But also, the other thing here is you have a huge back catalog, right? Not just Paramount, but all these other ones. Not doing anything doesn't make you money. Why not put it on Pluto TV? Often these deals, how these deals are typically structured for anything other than some of the biggest, most popular content, is a straight ad split. So much like YouTube, right? I put content on YouTube. YouTube keeps a percentage of the ad revenue. I get the rest. Much the same here with Pluto TV, right? Let's say I am the owner of an XYZ TV show. XYZ TV show does very well, but after a run on a streaming service or a cable, it hasn't been in a streaming service or on cable in months or years. Then they go and say, hey, well, let's put it on Pluto TV. I'll take 60% of the ad revenue. Paramount, you keep 40. And it's a straight ad revenue, right? They're not giving me money to put it on there. But at the end of a month, they say, hey, you had 1 million views. Here's how much you made in ad revenue. We keep 40, you get 60% of it, for example. And that 40% covers all the server costs and everything else that went into the cost of running that channel. These numbers are made up. I don't know what the current splits are. Don't quote me on the splits. But so that's why I think Pluto TV isn't going anywhere, because if they put it into Paramount Plus, well, then these content people who previously were just taking ad are now going to say, hey, Paramount Plus, I want a chunk of that monthly subscription. That's why Paramount Plus has done things like take some of their content off recently. A bunch of old Nickelodeon programs just vanished including Doug, off of Paramount Plus. Some of that's because some of it was joint ownership; they had to pay other people. Some of it's because they just don't want to pay them. When the stuff goes on to Pluto TV, they give a residual to some of the actors, or Pluto TV, Paramount Plus. I'm sorry, they give a residual to some of the actors, which costs some money. By removing some content, they lower their cost and reduce that with it. All right. I have to admit, I've become a real addicted to Coca-Cola Coke Zero. All right, let's keep going here. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of really good services out there, a lot of great content. Look for more and more content to be put into the free ones out there with that. Chris, first of all, huge thank you for being a subscriber to the channel and helping support us with your $5 a month. Places, I think Boomerang channel shut down. Yeah, for a long time, this was my channel I listed as most likely to shut down. I most recently actually swapped it out for some Paramount channels like MTV2 Classic and BET, Her, and all those smaller ones. But I still think Boomerang is very vulnerable. It's owned by Warner Bros. Discovery. Warner Bros. Discovery actually has a joint venture to have MeTV tunes. They supply a lot of the content with that. And that has resulted in, I think, Boomerang kind of becoming redundant. It seems like even some of the content's left Boomerang and moved over to MeTV tunes. I would have to really do a side-by-side look to say that really did happen or not. But it definitely seems that there's been a movement in that direction. Very interesting to see how that all plays out. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Now, I find one thing interesting, that what's the best free service seems to really break down right now, depending on if you like on demand mostly or if you like the live channels. Tubi definitely is leaning more into the on demand content, and the other services are leaning more into live, with Pluto TV being very heavy leaning into the live. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the future. Do you think that MTV and MTV2 will shut down? I don't think MTV is going away anytime soon, though. I mean, starting tonight, the Friends marathons and the Big Bang Theory marathons are coming to MTV. It's a significant shift. MTV has long been focused on the teens and young 20s, heavily in the female demographic. Not to say that they don't watch Friends or they don't watch Big Bang Theory, but that definitely is them trying to reach the fact that their audience has been shifting away from what their traditional core demographic is, and them trying to adapt. MTV is probably not going away. MTV2, MTV Classic, and the other smaller MTVs could definitely have an issue going forward. Hey, leave me a comment. If I didn't answer it, leave it again. I'll try to answer it when I see it. Let's talk about shifting demographics. Cartoon Network on our list isn't there because it doesn't air in primetime anymore. Adult Swim does. They've dramatically expanded Adult Swim, even to the point of bringing classic Cartoon Network shows into the Adult Swim block. Why are they doing that? Well, it's because the demographic on average in prime time is significantly older than 18, and even through the day, the age of what people are watching are getting older. They're realizing that kids like my daughter and my son are not watching Cartoon Network. My daughter, I don't know if she's ever watched Cartoon Network. And if she has, it hasn't been much of it. And because of that, they're saying, well, let's focus on people like you and me that want to watch Adult Swim. It would not surprise me at all in the future that we see things like Adult Swim a majority of the time on Cartoon Network, or Cartoon Network just airs a few hours a day. Maybe we'll see. All right. Here's the one from Aaron. Can you explain to me, why did a network make a second one? Why is there an MTV2, VH1, 2, or whatever, MTV Classic, BET2, all these other smaller networks? Well, because you have think back to the 90s and 2000s. You have a hit MTV channel doing very well. Streaming isn't a thing. So yeah, okay, I got a hit MTV. It has a massive following, but you know what? Here's the thing. There's no on demand really at the time. And maybe it's Made. Let's go back, Made, Road Rules, Real World, all this. Well, I have all this content. I could put on MTV2 reruns of older programs or even some original content, so that if on MTV, if I'm airing a program of The Hills or whatever they called that show that I don't care about, and I flip over to MTV2 and I see a rerun of an old season of Made or Real World or Road Rules or something, hey, I'm probably going to stay there. Where in the past, I may have switched over to a competitor channel. So that's why you see a lot of networks out there have the sub channels, because it gives you another ability to try to retain a viewer, where in the past they may have gone over to Comedy Central, a competitive network kind of, or VH1 or BET, and watch something there. So that's why they made so many versions of these channels, because they saw it and they said, hey, there is a ability here to retain viewers, even if what's on our main channel is not entertaining them. And you look at some of the difference here, BET Her focuses more on women content. MTV Classic focuses on older MTV programs to help with that. So you see this growth here. You see these growths in different things with different ones out there that sees the ability to, well, we're going to try to capitalize on it. Nowadays, I just go on demand. They're just not needed like they used to. All right, let's see here. HBO and Sky's agreement in the United Kingdom, Ireland, ends towards the end of 2025. So how big of an impact do you think that will affect the rest of the world? Honestly, I suspect they'll shut down. Increasingly around the world, many cable networks, Disney channels, and others are shutting down, and that content's moving to streaming services like Disney Plus and others as they try to move the content over that way. It does not surprise me at all to see a lot of this content leave cable around the world. The question now is, when's that happening here in the United States? The Disney Channel in most of Europe, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, parts of Central and Southern America are being shut down, and people are being directed over to Disney Plus. I think that's going to become a common thing. Who shaves my head? I do. Now, when I had my shoulder surgery last year, my wife actually did the back, and then I did the front, and I actually got pretty darn good left-handed. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. I'm right-handed, and shaving left-handed kind of sucked. I won't lie. What channels would possibly be shut down the most next year? Well, I did a whole video on this, but I do think Paramount channels are some of the ones most likely. I think the only reason why some of them have not is solely because of what is happening with the merger. They don't want to do anything to disrupt the merger, so they're just riding everything out until that merger's done. The new owners have even hinted they kind of intend to shut it down too. Hey, so what do you think of these live streams? What's your favorite parts of the live streams? Is it when I'm doing things like bringing up, stories and we're talking about different things? Is it me answering questions? Is it me just riffing on different things? What's your favorite part? I love to hear, feedback is a huge part in helping get these better, get better. What, practice makes perfect. Trying things, seeing if people like it, people don't like it, improving, refining. Maybe you have an idea, you try it and you refine it and come back. So what do you think? What are your favorite parts here? And also, as we kind of get closer to the end, we're not done yet, but we will later. What are your plans for New Year's? I'm hanging out with my son. My wife here, actually in about 20 minutes, is heading out with my daughter. They're going to go play board games at her brother's with nieces and nephews. My son is 3, and he's out. I think he may be a little sick, so I'm going to keep him home tonight. So I'm going to actually just kind of, maybe after he goes to bed, play some video games, watch some college football. Playoffs is on tonight. I'm not sure. I'm kind of thinking ordering like Buffalo Wild Wings or something, just something like really unhealthy. You ever just be like, hey, it's New Year's Eve. Let's just get really unhealthy and order Buffalo Wild Wings or something. I know there's worse out there, but what's your plans? Go watch Anderson Cooper. I don't know if I'm going to watch the ball drop or anything. I definitely will probably be up. No promises. We'll see. Go Boise State. I am a Big Ten guy. I won't lie. Michigan fan. By the way, go blue. We beat Alabama twice in 1 year. Beat Alabama twice. We beat Ohio State twice. Saw somebody post online. If beginning of the season, you had told Michigan fans they would end the season by beating both Ohio State and Alabama. They probably would have thought the season was very different. But yeah. So I hate to say I think Penn State's gonna win, but I won't be sad if Boise beats Penn State because I'm not a big Penn State fan. Go blue. Since before I sold the channel, yeah, I can't guarantee I'm gonna do some. I got some stuff coming up in January, February. I probably do a couple live streams, but I can't guarantee it's gonna be as often as I do this, just to be fully honest. But I think I'll try to rig up some stuff and do some stuff still. It definitely will not be every week. Let me set expectations here. I will not be doing live streams every week, but from time to time. Having some friends over, ordering Chinese and toasting the New Year. That's a good way to do it. Maybe some Chinese. Ooh, maybe I'll order that here in a little bit. Freebie. I'm gonna hit the town for Friday night. Anybody actually going to like a downtown ball drop or anything? I can't say I've ever actually gone to something like that. I've gone to parties and stuff and watched ball drops on the TVs. So that varies. How do I do research for these videos? That varies. If I a video like this, I will pull up 4 or 5 things. I got a second screen here, and I put some other content on, or I preload some stories that I think we can talk about to keep these conversations going. If I'm doing the core cutting today videos, I try to reread the stories beforehand, and I write notes on them to say, hey, I intend to cover, this is a point I want to cover. That's a point I want to cover with it. But overall, it's varies wildly, to be honest with you, and what I cut and what I do. If I'm doing a one story, like today I did one about DirecTV making changes to what packages it offers. Yeah, I just read that story again. I try to have a few points I want to hit. I don't do scripts with my dyslexia. That doesn't work best for me. I more have bullet points I want to make sure I hit. So it varies depending on what kind of video I'm doing. If it's a review process, it's often a multi-step one. And it includes me testing it for a while. First, I do the unboxing. Then I do some testing. And then I get into the actual review after I've tested enough and think I have enough, all my questions of it answered. Wow. Thank you so much. $20. Huge thank you. That is really, really helpful. Happy and healthy New Year to you and your family. Do you see any channels coming to Challenge YouTube? Do I see any channels coming to Challenge, or maybe do I see any new streaming services coming to Challenge, YouTube TV, DirecTV Now, Fubo, etc.? To my knowledge, none of the services you listed there are profitable. And you see others already shut down. VidGo, it's been a year since VidGo went under. All reports are they're still trying to sell it. No one's interested in buying it. YouTube TV doesn't release a lot of numbers, but they're reportedly still not profitable, but they are on track to become the largest provider of TV in the United States. Fubo is also not profitable. How's their stock doing? So Fubo, their IPO was a big push to become what people thought it would profitable, right? They thought that this would be the future of the company. We'll do gambling, we'll do this. Nothing's really made it profitable. So let's see here. IPO, what are they doing? Switch here. Fubo IPO, according to Google. That's not good. Little bounce up here, but that's not good. Okay, 1 month. That's not good. 6 month. Flat. Not bad. Year. Not good. Year to date, 1 year. 5 years. Max. Yeah, that is not good. This is kind of interesting. Fubo was one time worth like almost 500,000 a stock. I wonder if that's pre when it went live. I don't know how that worked. But look at this. So these services are not profitable, and I think that's what you're seeing here with investors. Investors are looking at it and just not sure how they plan to become profitable. So with that, the problem is, who wants to go launch a live TV streaming service in a field where There's a lot of competition. I've said this many, many times. There are more streaming services on the market in live TV or just in general than the market can support. There's over 100 paid streaming services in the United States. Half of them won't be here in a few years. There are, multiple major live TV services. Philo, Friendly would add to this list. Reports are they're not profitable. They're still being supported by investors. Some of them won't make it. Which ones make it? Which ones don't? Fubo's made it clear they think if that Venue Sports service launches directly from Disney, Fox, Warner Bros. Discovery, they may not be able to survive. Will they win the lawsuit? It's looking good for them right now, but that still doesn't answer the question of how do they become profitable? I don't think them winning the lawsuit will dramatically change the bundles they offer, though it could force Disney to offer smaller bundles out there. We'll see. That could be a way. But will services launch? Will we see more? I don't think so. Just because at this time, could some other people try to think they have something unique or different? I just don't at this time see how another competitor enters the market and with the current system, with the current way of these bundles and finds a way to become profitable right now. I mean, let's be honest. That ain't good. I mean, this ain't good at all, as they say. During the peak of post 2020, there was some, excitement here and down. I get a lot of Fubo stockholders messaging me a lot. For one, they always get upset if I ever say anything remotely critical, which is funny. But two, they're always like, oh, Amazon's going to buy them. This company's going to buy them. My question to you is not just Fubo, but why would anybody buy it? Why did no one wanted to buy PlayStation View? No one wanted to buy VidGo. Why? They're not profitable with that. And because they're not profitable, the other problem they have is there's a relatively low barrier of entry into a lot of this, right? It doesn't cost that much money to go hire some engineers to create your own system. Does it take some time to work out bugs? Is there some money? But what I've been told by people in the industry is the cost of trying to come in and do a lot of this your own is lower than trying to buy some of these companies out there. VidGo, all of its debt with VidGo, I reportedly was the main reason why people looked at them and all passed because they looked at the debt and said, man, just to become profitable. You look at Sling TV was going to be sold to Dish to DirecTV along with Dish for $1 and its debt. And that's the problem, is the debt with all this. So I'm no stock person. Don't be taking investment advice from me. Are all these services going away? No. Let's be honest. There's a lot of streaming services out there that will become successful. The question is who? YouTube TV is looking pretty good, but doesn't mean that Hulu or Fubo won't find some type of magic sauce that beats them. I don't think we're going to find that situation. This isn't a situation where one or two services survive. I think this is going to be a situation with maybe 4 live TV services survive 10 years from now. Question is, which ones? I don't know. Is that going to be Fubo, Hulu, or is it going to be like YouTube TV, Hulu, Friendly, and Philo? Is it going to be Friendly, Philo, Fubo, YouTube, and Hulu not make it? I don't know. But I do know that there are more services on the market now than the market can survive. All right. Somebody was asking, isn't Fubo owned by a French company? All right. Who owns Fubo? All right. Acquire. All right. Industry founders, headquarters in the United States, subsidiaries, Fubo Sports, Network. I don't. Hey, look right here. Apparently, I'm cited in theirs. Pretty cool. All right. Board of directors. Fubo governance team. Let's see here. That's the governance team. I'll say something about Fubo. I think Fubo's onto some stuff. I think Fubo's doing a very good job. Do I just think Fubo has a hard road ahead of them? Oh, yeah. Very much a hard road. Okay, here we go. This is probably what we want. I don't see anything about a French-owned company. Yeah, title current. Now, again, revenue up 600% fiscal year, net income, earnings per share down, gross margin. But let's see here. Ownership, a bunch of stock. There is a bunch of companies with stock ownership in it. So we'll see. Fubo losses third quarter 2024. In the third quarter, they lost 54 million. Net loss due. So they cut this severely though, but they're still losing millions. And that's just, I think, why companies are struggling to invest in these. If I could buy any streaming service, which one would it be and how would you make it profitable? Honestly, if I had any streaming service and I could do anything I want, it would be a Pluto TV like service. And I would lean heavily into 24/7 feeds of older niche streaming programs that are relatively cheap. What would the call following? The problem is the streaming rights. Now, the problem is the streaming rights aren't there. For example, Bug Juice, the original 1990s Bug Juice. I went to the camp, love it, has a big following. A lot of people loved it. Remember that show fondly. The rights of the people who are on the show did not include streaming, so it makes it less likely. But if I could do anything, I would take content like that, put it in something like Pluto TV, and again, low cost, high return on ad revenue. I watch the Bob Barker Price is Right all the time and have a lot of fun. So if I could buy any service, it would be a free ad-supported streaming service, because if I could just strike deals to put a bunch of old stuff, Space Above and Beyond 24/7 on it, all this like 90s nostalgia. And what I would do is I would call it Blockbuster, and I would have all kinds of funny, catchy Adult Swim like bumpers and things. When you open it, it would you would zoom, a video would play when you open it, like zooming into a Blockbuster store, an animated version of it. I can't believe, there's Sling TV free stream. I think if Dish was smart, they would rebrand that as Blockbuster and give it as a standalone app. But I understand they're hoping that actually gets you to subscribe to Sling TV. They could still try to do that. But I think if they were smart, they would make it a standalone app, and they would call it Blockbuster, which they own the rights to. And they would have all kinds of catchy little random things. Those little upcoming movie things that you see on TVs in Blockbusters? I would recreate them if I had to and put some of them up. So I guess Blockbuster be it. If I could buy Blockbuster's name, make a free streaming service, have a bunch of Adult Swim like bumpers and all kinds of weird, fun, catchy things. Let's be honest, that's the reason why people a lot of times like Adult Swim, is those weird, catchy bumpers and stuff. That's what I would do. Well, if I don't get off of here, my wife's going to kill me. And my wife's a retired Army officer, air assault, combat engineer, all kinds of stuff with multiple deployments to Iraq under her belt. She could totally do it. She's probably out there waiting for me right now so she can head out to be with her brother and take my daughter out for the family New Year's Eve party. So I better wrap this up. Hope everybody has a fantastic New Year. Thank you so much for the 300,000. If you weren't here when I said it at the beginning and about halfway through, I did a thank you to everybody, people who've worked here, viewers and the like. I hope you all have a fantastic New Year's 2024. And I'll answer one last question. Have I ever been to the last Blockbuster? No. Would I? Totally. All right, everybody. That's it. Take care. Be safe. Happy New Year. No idea when I'm going to do this one again. It's probably going to be a little bit, but I'm very thankful for everybody for your support. Until next time, take care. Be safe. Hope you had a great holiday season. If your holidays are still going, take care. And don't forget, go clean up those tabs in your phone on your browser. If you're like me, I had 38 tabs open in my browser on my phone. How many tabs were from years ago or months ago? Sometimes you just never closed. Go clean out all the open tabs in your phone so you have a clean 2025 to get started with. Until then, take care. Be safe. I'm going to wait a quick minute because if I don't, sometimes the stream cuts off on my closing. So until then, I hope you all have a fantastic new year and that all your plans come into fruition and that 2025 will be the best year you've ever had for you and your family. Take care, everybody. Thank you for your support.